guys, welcome to our first virtual Sunday school. I'm so glad you're here, really excited to see you. So first of all, we're going to go through some of the activities that we have for this week that you should have received in the mail.
Okay, so this year what we're doing is a virtual Sunday school that is a one-room Sunday school program. So like Carissa mentioned, you should have received some activity sheets in the mail. So the great thing about this program and this curriculum is that it is totally customizable depending on the ages of the kids that you have in your home. So we'll go through all of these in a little bit more detail as soon as Carissa is done with the story. But just know that you can do some of the activities, you can do all of the activities, and you can really customize it depending on whatever is going to work best. So the first thing that we are going to do is share the story of creation. And right now we are in Unit 1, and Unit 1 begins with Genesis. So the first unit is all about beginnings. Genesis means beginnings, and the children are going to hear about the story of the beginning of creation as well as the beginning of God's relationship with people. So this is the first lesson in a 4-lesson series for this unit. Okay.
So here's the Bible story for this week. In the beginning of everything, God created a beautiful world. On the first day of creation, God created day and night, and they were good. On the second day, God created the sky and filled it with the sun, moon, and stars, and they were good. On the third day, God created water and land, and they were good. On the fourth day, God covered the land with plants and trees and grasses, and they were good. On the fifth day, God filled the water with fish and sea animals and the sky with birds. Everything God created was good, but God was not finished. On the sixth day, God created something different, all kinds of living creatures. God looked at all of the animals and God saw that they were good, but something was missing. God needed someone to take care of God's creations, so God created people in God's own image. God formed a person out of clay and breathed life into him. God named this person Adam. God placed Adam in a beautiful garden and allowed him to name all of the animals. Adam loved the garden and the animals, but something was missing. He was very lonely. God took part of Adam and made a helper for him. Adam called her Eve. God saw everything God made, and God said it was supremely good. Then God rested on the seventh day, and that is our Bible story for the week.
Awesome. Thank you, Carissa. That was a great job. So thinking about the Bible story of Genesis, this is a quiz for all the kids that are watching. So we're going to give a minute to answer. What did God tell Adam and Eve? So what did God want Adam and Eve to do? Do you know the answer? All right, Carissa, you can tell us. What's the answer?
He wanted them to take care of all God's creation.
Yep, absolutely. That's exactly right. So the activities that we have today, Carissa's going to help go through each of these. And like I mentioned earlier, they're broken into different age groups. So Carissa, can you please explain to us all the different activities that we have?
Of course. So this is the preschool activity. So for this, you will need some coloring supplies, pencils, crayons, markers, whatever you want to color with. You will have to circle in each of these rows the animal that is different and doesn't look like the others. So I'll give you an example. For the elephant row, which one do you think is out of place or doesn't look like the rest? Okay, good job. It was this elephant right here, so I would circle him. And then for all the other rows, I would do the same. And then I would color in all the animals.
Awesome. Good job. Okay, so our next activity is for younger elementary school kids. So let's talk through this activity. So this is another sheet that you should have received, and Carissa is going to explain how this one works.
So for this one, it's the younger elementary puzzle. So this one is, so each plant or tree or leaf corresponds with a different letter of the alphabet. So, for example, if I was looking at this spruce tree right here, where is that on this sheet? Good job. It is right here, and the letter corresponding with it is right beneath it, M. So, in this, above this line right here, I would put the letter M, and I would go forth with that for the rest of the sheet.
Okay, so what happens when you fill in all the letters? Then what happens?
You will find a secret message in all these letters, and
okay.
it'll correspond to our project.
Okay, so it's going to be a message that goes along with the story. So it's going to be one rule to follow in the Garden of Eden. And once you put all the letters in that match up to the pictures, then you're going to know what that is. So that is awesome. Super fun. Okay, what is the activity for the older elementary kids?
So for the older elementary kids, it is like a color by number. Have you ever heard of that? Well, if you haven't, and even if you have, a color by number is where you need a color corresponding to each number. So this has 3 numbers, so I'll pick 3 different colors. I'll do blue for 1, 2 for purple, and 3 for green, okay? So let's find a word in here. Okay, how about we do the word good? These all have the number 1 on each of the letters. So I will grab a blue marker pen or crayon or colored pencil, and I will color in these letters. And then once you are all done with that, you will discover a hidden message in here, and that will be what God wanted Adam and Eve to do.
Awesome. Okay, so you pick a color and you match it up with a number and you fill it all in, and from there you're going to see a secret message, right?
Yes.
Okay, that is awesome. Okay, so those are some of the activities. Now this activity is kind of fun. Carissa and I were going back and forth about some different ways to use this sheet. So if you receive this sheet, you could do a couple different things. So Carissa, why don't you tell us about the idea that you had?
Okay, so the idea for this sheet that I had. So if you see, they all have different numbers representing the days that God made everything. So I had an idea where on the number 1 or any of these numbers, on the back of each, you will cut them out. On the back, you will color the thing that, or representation, or write whatever happened on that day. So on day 1, he created the night and the day. So in the back, maybe I draw a moon and a sun. And then I will represent that with the rest of them, whatever happened on those other days, which we should all know. And then I will cut them all out, shuffle them up, and try and match them up, and it'll be kind of like flashcards. Or another idea is that you can grab another piece of paper, you can cut squares or whatever shape you want into those, and you will color or write what happens on that day, on those days, so 7 pieces, 7 squares, and you will color whatever happens on those days, and you'll have 2 piles. So a pile for the numbered days and the pile for what happens, and you'll flip them all face down, and you have to flip one up in each pile, and if they don't match, it's like a matching game. So if they don't match, you have to flip them back over and try again. It'll be really fun and exciting for all those kids.
Okay, that's awesome. That's a really creative idea. So a couple different things that you can do, matching up the days with what happened, what God did with creation. And then the last sheet that we have is a bonus coloring page. So Carissa's going to work on coloring that, and as she's coloring it, we're going to kind of talk through a little bit more about what God created. Okay, so as you can see, Carissa's been working on her sheet, getting it all colored in here, which is really nice. So as she's doing that, let's kind of recap what we learned today. So today's Bible story was on creation. And if we go through and kind of think about all the things that God created over the course of those 7 days, you know, God created the world from nothing, and he did it for us. And that's really amazing when you think about that. And on day 1, so God created the heavens and the earth. And remember that he created day and night. because he separated the light from the dark. On day 2, God created the sky and the atmosphere that surrounds the earth. On day 3, God created the dry land, and the earth was divided between the dry land and the water. And on this day, he also created plants. So all the plants that you see, the big plants, the small plants, all of those that help us breathe and keep the world looking so beautiful, that's what God created on that day. On day 4, God created the stars and the sun and the moon. And the sun gives us light during the day, and the moon reflects the sun at night. On day 5, God made the fish and the sea animals and everything that lives not on land. So the birds and the bugs that fly. And then on day 6, God created the animals that live on land. And he created the first man as a special creation. And he told that man that he's supposed to care for God's creation. And when God's creation was complete, he announced that it is very good. And then on day 7, God rested. And by doing this, he set an example for all of us on the importance of rest. So Carissa will finish up her activity here. Hopefully you all get a chance to work through the other activities that we talked through with the sheets that were provided for you. So pick the ones that you want depending on the age of the kids in your home and kind of what seems like it's going to be the most fun for you. But we're going to close right now with a prayer. So Carissa and I are going to read this together.
Now please join us in prayer.
God, thank you for creation. We're thankful for the world you have made and all the things that fill it. Help us learn to take care of your wonderful creation. Amen. Thank you so much for joining us for our first ever virtual Sunday school class. Appreciate you logging in and working through the activities with us and learning the story. And we look forward to having many more Sunday school sessions with you. Have a blessed week.